We
Yeah,
can
it
just
doesn't
jump
matter.
right into it. We can just I can just jump right into it and we can,
um okay, I'll just say something real quick. It's
Okay.
fine. I mean, I want it to be natural and I
Yeah.
don't know. It's so everyone out there listening today. So I am reversing roles today, and I am going to be interviewed by Chelsea, my good friend, who was what you were episode 3, right?
I think so,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was
Oh,
like,
I don't know now.
I know it was like right in the beginning. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're coming up on 1 year of the
Mm.
Empowerhood podcast. And of course, I had kind of some questions of like, well, why are you not on there, Megan? Sharing your own story. And I don't know, maybe I'm like hiding a little bit. Who knows? I just haven't even like thought about having someone interview me. So it's
Yeah.
very fitting right now because, of course, the 1 year. I'm also
Mm.
turning 40. So that's
Um,
another like big
you don't even
milestone.
look like
Yeah.
it. You don't even look
Well,
like
thank
it.
you. I kind of feel like it though.
Yeah, but that's not a bad thing. I
Not
feel
like old, just
like,
like life shifting, I guess
yes,
you can say. Like
yeah,
30, I didn't feel anything. But yeah, I said to my husband, I'm like, did you feel weird at 40? Like everything's just like chaotic and like, I don't know. Yeah, it's very different.
yeah. That's
Um,
not a bad thing though. I feel like I'm gonna be 35, and I feel like as I approach, like 40 was always like, oh my God,
yeah.
that's old. Like,
Yeah.
and now I feel like I have my shit more together. So I
Yeah.
feel like as I'm approaching 40, it might be a little bit easier to handle. So,
Yeah. I
but
feel like the complete opposite. And that's why I tried to cancel this like 3 times in my head. I was like,
oh
I don't
no.
have my stuff together enough. I'm not where I'm supposed to be.
That's much
um,
like, and that makes it even better because I feel like when you first approached me about this, I was really excited because I think obviously just to like delve deeper into like all about you, all about Megan, but also I think it's super important for you to connect with your audience, your clients, and everything. And same thing with me, like with my clients.
yeah.
It's so important that they see the other side of you. And I think that's probably why people are like, "Where's your stuff? Like,
Yeah.
let's talk about Megan." And so
Yeah.
I feel like also it makes people feel more comfortable. Not like that people aren't comfortable with you, but
Yeah.
it just kind of brings everybody back to reality because everybody looks at everybody else, especially on social media, and they're just like, she seems like she has her shit together, and
Yeah.
nobody has their shit together.
Nobody
So,
does. Well, and that's what I was like. I'm like, I need to cancel. I'm going to text Kelsey right now. But I'm like, dude, if it's like saying like it's always too like you're never ready to start, right? I'm never going to be ready. Vulnerability is
yeah.
so hard um but like I mean like I said, I'll probably never have my shit totally together. But I mean we'll get into this, I'm sure. I did think
Yeah.
I would have my shit a little bit more together than I do right now. But you know what? I'm going to look back at this and it will be such a huge part of who I am and like my growth, years from now, and I think I'll really appreciate talking about it and being able to look back and be like, wow, like look how far I've come.
Hmm. Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like it's especially hard for someone like you because you are very, very organized and you are very like decisive, I feel like, and type A. And so
Totally.
I feel like, I mean, for me, I'm like a type B, like wannabe A. So I kind of float in between. But I feel like, especially for type A people, when things are just like seeming like, what the hell is going on? It's
Yeah.
so hard for you guys.
Oh my
I say,
God. It's so hard. I mean, I'm like also like a recovering perfectionist,
yeah, yeah,
fixer, basically. So,
yeah,
when things are out of control, I just want to fix them. And it's just
yeah.
not, you can't fix everything. It's exhausting. So yeah, I have to work on that every
All right,
day.
well, let's get into it. I'm
Okay.
going to you say to everyone, who is Megan? And tell a little bit about
I
yourself.
know this is hard because everyone's like, "Oh, I don't know who I am." And now this is reversed on me.
Yeah.
You know what? I have done so much soul surfing these past like couple years, and I guess before I go into like all my roles, because I wear a lot of hats. Like, who
Yes.
am I on the inside? So I'm a dreamer. I am such a dreamer. I've always been a dreamer. I always had these crazy, crazy ideas, and some I take action on. Some are just so far-fetched. You know, my husband has to kind of bring me back down to reality. So I've always been like a daydreamer, a big dreamer. I'm a creative, a true creative, you know, multi-passionate entrepreneur that, again, takes these dreams and ideas and just wants to create these like wild things. But obviously, as a hairstylist, I am an artist, a makeup artist, hair artist, and I try to use my creativity too in my coaching and all of that. I love being creative. I am very disciplined and self-motivated, as you said before. You do not have to motivate me to really do anything. I push myself hard enough. I'm very like, I would be good in the military, honestly, except there's no like vanity there. But I love structure. I love all of that stuff. I love connecting people. I'm like a huge connector. I mean, that even just like on the podcast, like when people talk, I'm like, oh, I know a person you should meet. You know, it's just one of my favorite things to do, and it really makes me feel good. I love connecting people. I'm a health enthusiast. You know that. I love being healthy, feeling good in my body, and, you know, even in my family, just like helping people be healthy and like find their best self. What else? I'm a lot of things. Like I am definitely a lot, and it's taken me years to be like, I'm a lot and I'm okay with that. And like, this is who I am type of thing.
No, I love, like, you are just like, you are amazing. And I have my notes written down. I had to write notes because I knew I would get off track.
Well, I'm probably going to rant too. It's like the number one thing people say to me. They're like, oh, I ranted. And I'm like, well, that's the point of a podcast though. You're just supposed to talk. Yes. I mean, I have a really big heart, but I also have a really fierce spirit. Like I try to stay really committed to my boundaries because I do have a people pleasing heart. I feel like, you know, I'm a Jesus follower. Like I'm lucky to have Jesus in my life and, you know, serve him. So a big part of my life is definitely, you know, putting time and effort into, you know, serving at church and really just trying to follow in his footsteps and share his light, you know, through me. So church is a big part of who I am. And then, I mean, you know, all the roles that I play are definitely like a huge part of my identity. You know, I'm married to my husband, Willis. Our 10-year anniversary is actually next weekend. And we've been together for 15 years.
You guys just went to Miami, right?
Yeah, for our anniversary. Yeah, I know. I can't believe it's been 10 years. So yeah, he is, you know, he's my number one supporter, you know, my partner in everything. And like I said, he's kind of like, we're like yin and yang. He kind of pulls me back down to reality. And
which is what like, not that it should be, but like that is like an awesome partnership, you know? You guys balance each other out. Same thing with me and my husband. It's like,
totally.
I'm a dreamer too. I'm a creative, and he's like, Chelsea, gotta bring back down a little bit. I'm like, okay, that's
right. Yeah, my mind just starts going, and he's like, well, what do you need to do first? I'm like, yep, exactly. Yeah. So we do balance each other out perfectly. And then obviously I'm a mom, so I have an 8-year-old daughter, Gray, and I'm a mom to my dog, McCordy, who's almost 13. So he's my old baby. But yeah, those are, you know, my most important roles are really my family. And then, of course, I'm an independent hairstylist. I've done that for 22 years. And then I'm a health coach as well and a podcast host. So I guess those are my biggest roles.
No, it's perfect because everything that you do, they all connect to each other.
Yeah.
Especially being a hairstylist. So that was like your first thing.
Yeah.
You've been doing it for 22 years, which is insane.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like everything that you have done, like one thing has led to another. And it's just like this full circle thing for you. So like, it's not like you wear all these hats and it's like chaotic all over the place. I feel like everything has a connection to each other, which is awesome. And I think that's why you're so successful with everything too.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, at first, like, I feel like it all didn't connect for me. You know, I wasn't like connecting the dots between all of those, you know, businesses that I have. It took me years to kind of connect them and be like, oh, wait, this is all, you know, how we feel on the inside affects how we look on the outside and our confidence and, you know, going to get our hair done and feeling good about ourselves. Because obviously vanity is fleeting.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, spiritually, you know, talking and telling your story and encouraging people, you know, it just took me a while to connect them all. But yeah, they are. And yeah, it's funny that you said that because right now I'm kind of rebranding under my name because I'm like, how do I connect these all, you know, under one, you know, business type of thing. So you will see that coming out soon. It's just rebranding under my personal name. It's still Flourish Everyday Coaching. And it's still, you know, Megan Vandevanter as a hairstylist. But yeah, just getting a little new logo just to kind of connect those as one. And again, I'm just like, I'm a creative, so visually it helps me to visualize it when I have a logo like that. So yeah. Well, thanks, Chad.
So you grew up in Maine, right?
No, I actually grew up outside Boston.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Boston and then you moved to Maine.
Yeah, so I grew up, I mean, I was born in Rhode Island. So I lived in Massachusetts though from like, I mean, really young age. And we moved about 30 minutes outside Boston. I think I was like 6. And I lived there until, you know, I moved in with Willis. We lived in the city for years, and then we moved to Maine the year before we got married. Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so we were in Maine for 10 years. So we were there for a while.
Oh, that is a while.
Yeah.
There. I bet you missed like the ocean and everything.
Yeah.
All the stuff from up there, the lobster and everything.
I actually don't like lobster. Isn't that so weird? Like people literally travel from all over the world to get lobster in Maine, and I don't like it. But I think that's just like being spoiled growing up in New England. Like I was always very close to the ocean. You know, you take it for granted for sure. Yeah. I do. The ocean is probably the number one thing that I miss. I feel like I was just saying to Willis last week because we were in Miami at the ocean, and there is something so grounding about like being by the ocean. It just like humbles you, just like how big and beautiful. And so I do miss that. I said to him, like, do you feel like chaotic not being near the ocean? Like and again, I'm very spiritual, but like I feel it. I feel different not being able to just have the idea that, oh, the ocean is 20 minutes from me, or like when we were in Maine, it was like 5 minutes from me. But just like knowing that powerful grounding thing is right there. I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely something that I miss a lot.
Yeah, I definitely was. It's beautiful up there.
Yeah.
New York is beautiful too.
It is. Yeah, it has a lot to offer for sure.
Okay, so I guess let's go back 22 years ago when you first started your journey with hairstyling. What was your main driver for that? Like what interested you in doing that?
Oh gosh, I was like hoping you wouldn't ask this. Because I mean, talk about vulnerable. So you know, it's so weird. So I mean, going into doing hair really goes back to like my childhood, where so I grew up with 3 siblings. I had an older sister. I have 2 younger brothers, and I was like kind of like that typical, you know, middle child, where my sister was a super high achiever, and I, you know, was kind of a quiet, shy kid. And I mean, not that I was like in her shadow. She loved me so much, but she was very outgoing and really naturally good at sports and smart. And I didn't have a growth mindset. I don't even know if that existed then, like people would talk about that growth mindset type of thing. So I didn't grow up like that. So I kind of just thought that I was stuck with how I was. You know, I couldn't change. So like I wasn't great in school. I was okay at sports. And again, that was kind of like an effort thing. Like I just didn't know that if I worked harder, I could be really good at things. So I just kind of stayed stuck. So I really struggled in school. And I think like when I grasped on in middle school that, again, with this middle child thing, I wanted attention, right? It was like an attention thing. So when I realized like, oh, I can get attention from men or like boys, like I was kind of boy crazy. And so that kind of brought me into the beauty aspect of it. And then I was like, oh, well, if I go to cosmetology school, I don't have to struggle with academics. Basically, that was my mindset.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't like doing that stuff. I did like doing hair. You know, I was always playing with my American Girl dolls, like that type of stuff. So it kind of came from a place of laziness, to be honest. So I went to cosmetology school, and it was actually nothing that I thought it was going to be. It was really hard.
Yeah.
It's more, you know, chemistry, more learning about the anatomy of the body and like our skin and hair and all that stuff. So it was more book learning and also like business. Like you have to learn how to run a business. And I didn't expect that, I guess, but I ended up being like really naturally talented at it. I didn't have to work super hard to have a natural talent at it. So I kind of took off with that, but it was I still didn't grasp that concept of the harder you work, like you can teach yourself anything, right? You can learn anything. You can take a class. I did not get that concept for a really long time. So luckily, like the places that I worked with, they put me through a ton of training. So I got training, you know, all over the city of Boston, you know, Newbury Street, Fenway, all these places. I trained in New Hampshire, in Maine. Incredible education. But the whole business side of it didn't come to me until way later in life, where I had Gray. And my husband was like, a friend of mine left the salon that we were working at, and she went out on her own and opened her, you know, started renting a chair. And my husband was like, well, what are you doing? Like, why don't you do that too? And I was like, well, I don't know how. And in that moment, I felt like he believed in me enough to support me, to be like, to have the confidence for me to be like, Megan, you can do this. You're really good at this. You can learn anything. And Gray was probably like maybe almost 1. So I did it. So my Willis helped me, and my good friend Lauren, who we worked together forever, ended up, you know, just helping me get everything in order. I went out on my own. And that, like, it's when it clicked. I'm like, oh my God, I learned how to do taxes. I learned like all this other stuff. And I'm like, holy crap, what have I been doing? Like, I can learn anything. So like that kind of like just like set a fire in me where I started learning how to like do stuff around the house, how to like mow the lawn, how to like, I don't want to wait for anything. I can do it myself. I can teach myself anything. But I mean, it was also with business too. So I ended up building, you know, 6-figure business.
Oh my gosh.
And, you know, really just like, and then I started getting my health certifications to be a coach. And like I said, like once you realize that you can seriously grow and learn anything, it's like the sky is the limit. And that changed the trajectory of my life really forever.
It's so like, you usually hear about a lot of women going into like cosmetology and hairstyling because like it's something they've always wanted to do or something interested in. And it's like, to hear that, that's awesome, because there was a silver lining in all of it. And then obviously like you probably grasped right onto it because you were super talented. But that's amazing. And like, I understand like the business end of it, because when I started my business, it was like, whoa, like, hello. And you just, same thing. You teach yourself and you learn and you reach out to other people, other entrepreneurs, and figure out how they're doing things. And, you know, there's stuff that they don't teach you in school, and you kind of just get thrown to the wolves and you got to figure it out. But like you said, it is so empowering to be able to figure that stuff out on your own. It's hard. It is absolutely
so hard. Yeah.
There's definitely moments when you're going to doubt yourself and be like, what am I even doing? But you said, once you figure it out and teach yourself all these things, like it is so empowering. And then you're like, all right, what's the next thing? You know?
Yeah. You really feel like you can tackle everything. It doesn't make it easier in any way. It's still, you know, really challenging and scary. But yeah, it's like, your perspective is so different. Like, because I can't even tell you how many years that I just felt so insecure in myself because of my circumstance, but I was letting my circumstance be who I was instead of trying to create the circumstance that I wanted. And I just didn't know. And it's like not my parents' fault. It's not anybody's fault. Like I don't know, like maybe the resources that I had at the time just weren't there. So, with my own child, I see a lot of my personality in her, and I just always try to just be like, great, you might not be the best at something, but you can work hard and get to that.
Right.
You might just have to work a little bit harder than someone else does that might be naturally talented at that. And, hard work will get you wherever you want to go, whether you're the best or not. If you put that work in, you're going to get where you want to go.
Exactly.
So yeah, that just like constant like growth mindset, like what are you working on? How can you get better at it? Yeah. Not perfection, just better. Yeah.
Nothing is ever perfect.
No.
Like, I don't think there's nothing out there that is absolutely perfect. It's just like, I hate the word. Like, I hate the word perfect.
I know. I feel like it's, I mean, I don't know how you were brought up, but it's definitely ingrained in my brain somewhere because it does come up a lot.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like, I struggled with school too growing up, and like same thing. Nothing came easy for me. I had to study hard all the time. I had to work hard, and it was super frustrating. And like, so same thing. It's just like, you got to find that thing, and then it sets you off, and you can accomplish so much. So
yeah, it must be like that creative mind. Cause I mean, it didn't come to my sister easily either. She worked her butt off. She was just like a really hard worker. And I just didn't naturally have that sense to just work hard, I guess. But like, I don't know about you, but like my mind would just go to other places. Like I would just daydream and like, oh, the class is over. What? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I was homeschooled. I was homeschooled until high school.
Really?
Oh yeah. So, I didn't do well with that. I'd say I'm probably like 50-50, like introverted, extroverted, but I definitely feel like I need that time with peers. And I don't know. Yeah, I just didn't do well with homeschooling. And then when I went into high school, I really didn't do better academically, but socially it helped. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's good.
Yeah.
It's tough. So transitioning from hairstylist, well, you've always been a hairstylist, but once you got your health certifications and everything to be a health coach, like what was your main driver for that?
So, well, really COVID, I guess. I mean, so I had my own health issues a couple of different times. So right before COVID, I'm trying to think how old Gray was. Yeah, she was probably like 3. I got this really weird like inflammation in my right hand. So obviously I'm a hairstylist. So like I couldn't grip things and it was super painful. So I was, going to physical therapy, like seeing doctors about it. And they were kind of just like, well, you're 34. That's like normal. And that type of thing. So I ended up, I would pop ibuprofen all day long because I'd be in so much pain and I had to go to work. And like I could barely pick up my child and, put her in her car seat and try to like buckle the buckle type of thing. So it was, it wasn't good. And they were like, physical therapy wasn't helping. They were basically just telling me to take ibuprofen and ice it. So I ended up going to this Chinese medicine woman because I was desperate and she was going to do acupuncture and she came in and, you fill out the form and tell her what the problem is and whatnot. And she barely spoke any English and she just like looked at me and she stuck like 3 needles in my hand and was like, no gluten, no sugar, no dairy, no coffee. I think she said too. And just left the room. Like, I was like, what? So at that point, like I said, I was desperate. So I'm like, I'll try anything. Right. So I went home and, I'm like, I'll just look at my diet and see what I'm eating. Like I thought I was eating healthy, but I'm like, you know what? I am eating a lot of gluten. There is a lot of hidden sugar and I was also eating a lot of like bad oils. So I'm like, all right, I can make some adjustments. So I adjusted my diet and it went away in like 2 weeks. It was completely gone.
Wow.
So that just like kind of opened my eyes to like, all right, well, what are we even doing? Like, what is this healthcare system? Like, what are we putting in our bodies? So it just kind of opened that door. And then I just started like, really dialing into health and to, whole foods, like that type of stuff. And when COVID hit, we all kind of question our lives, right? And just like, how are we how are we living? Like, how can we live better? Of course, my work was closed. My hair salon was closed for 6 weeks. So, my husband was like, well, why don't we take this life coaching course together? And, it was more for personal growth, but we ended up getting certified as life coaches together, which was a really cool experience to kind of go through together. But I loved it. And it was really like on the fundamentals of health, like making sure that you're taking care of your body in order to show up during the day so you can be successful in your career and that type of stuff. So from there, I was just like, oh, okay, I want to learn more. Again, like that, like growth mindset. Like I want to learn more about health. So I continued on and got certified, as a health coach and a sleep consultant. But it really, like, I was just doing it as a side hustle until we decided to move. Like I never thought I would do it like full time. And, when we moved, I was completely burned out from hair, which again, COVID kind of, with that shutdown, when we went back to work, the demand was so high. I was, I was a wedding makeup artist and hairstylist, and all of our weddings that got postponed, that first year got pushed to the second year. So I was triple booked on some days. And, I was so exhausted. Like I would get migraines because I just I couldn't keep up, and my boundaries were like out the window because that feeling of scarcity, like that, what if they shut us down again? What if they do this or that? So it was a really hard year. And so when we moved, in my mind, I felt like this is what I need. I need to stop doing hair because I just don't feel that love for it and passion for it anymore because I was just so tired. But I mean, I was wrong. I mean, I'll be the first one to say, like, we make mistakes, right? I mean, I'm not saying like moving was wrong. I don't know. I mean, you know more about my story that I don't know if you're going to ask me these questions later, but, so when we moved here, it's almost actually 2 years ago, I stopped doing hair until I was like, I want to wait and figure it out and find where I want to be and like, see if this is what I really want to do. So I coached more than doing hair. But I started getting really depressed because, well, I didn't know why I was depressed. There was stuff that happened, circumstances happened that we did not expect. And, it just made me reflect on my life a lot deeper than I thought I needed. But, doing hair from the time of 18 years old until, I was 38 years old, it's a part of who I am. So I didn't expect to lose this huge, identity. So I basically had like an identity crisis. So I left my salon in Maine to move here to New York. And even like the girls that I had worked with, I had been with them on and off for 10 years. So not only was I leaving this industry that is a huge part of my identity, I also left these girls that, we had gone through, honestly, like some unspeakable things that I can't even talk about, like, loss, grief, amazing things to like marriage, kids, so much success, right?
Yeah.
But
you
like,
see women almost every day, right? And
I mean, I'm still, close with them, but it's not the same, so in my head, I was like, well, I don't know if I can recreate that, where I'm going, because of the connection that we had, going through COVID together, all that stuff. So, when we moved here, I was in that burned out place, and, I'm just starting to get back, so I went back to doing hair this January because, after reflecting and being like, why? I've never experienced depression until these past 2 years. And, I was trying, again, I'm that fixer in me. I'm like, well, what inside, like, what am I missing? And I think it came down to that creativity and that connection with people, in person.
Yeah.
And it has helped. I can't say that, I still have, down days for sure. And that's, probably a topic for a whole other podcast. Cause I mean, I know a lot of people experience depression, and honestly, like, I never knew, like, I couldn't really relate because, I mean, I obviously, like, I feel for people with depression, but I never had it myself. So I couldn't be like, well, I know how you feel. You know what I mean? Yeah. And, Now I do. It's unexplainable, really, and I don't know about other people out there that get depression, but like I would feel so down, and then I would feel guilty for feeling down because I have this amazing life and I have everything, but then I still don't feel good, you know? So it was like a constant
It's
kind of cycle. Yeah.
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 It's hard too because I feel like, whether you have depression or you're just in a really rough spot in your
Mhm.
life, you don't realize how bad you are until you are on the other side
Mhm.
too. Like, I feel like when you're going through some tough stuff in life, like you're in it and you just like keep trying to go on, but you don't realize how bad it is until you're like out of it and you're like, oh wow, that was that was not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's tough. It's like it's definitely an adjustment, but I'm definitely like one of those people where I'm like although shit happens and it's really hard, I'm
Mhm.
very thankful for those things because it's like a wake up call, right? It's
Yeah.
like, okay, something needs to change. Like something is not working right now. You
Totally.
need to change something.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean
yeah.
that's I've I mean since I was talking about that incident with like my hand, I try
Mhm.
to be really aware of what's going on in my body because I do think it speaks to you, and I think depression is, speaking to you in some form. I mean, I know some people have chronic depression where, there really isn't a reason for it, and maybe there
Yeah.
isn't a reason for depression. But I found in my case, like I was like, all right, something's not right. Something is
Yeah.
not right in my life right now, and I really had to find it within me because you can't blame other people or events and stuff that happens for how you feel inside. You can
Mhm.
actually fix that. That's something you can actually like work towards to fix. So
Yeah.
I've been kind of on that journey, and a friend like said to me too, she was like, you can look like you have an amazing life or actually have an
Oh my,
amazing life and still feel depressed. Like it's okay. You have to recognize those feelings and
mhm.
accept them for what they are. So
Exactly.
it's hard. Yeah.
I feel like things like depression and anxiety too, like all boils down to a healthy lifestyle as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like they say depression, you got to be mindful of what you're eating because some
Mm-hmm.
of the stuff that you're putting in your body could be, causing your depression. It could be adding to it. Like it's
Yeah,
all about like, the chemicals going on in your brain and everything like that. So it's definitely,
totally.
when you get all this stuff coming in on you, it's just like you feel out of control too. So,
Yes. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. And those are some things that you can actually like control. I mean, even getting like, I know a lot of times if I get a poor night of sleep, my depression like really comes at me. Like I do not have a good day. I feel really down.
mhm.
So even just like prioritizing like getting into bed is
Yeah.
helpful, at least in my case. I mean, I'm not like, I'm not on medication or anything. I can definitely like help myself through my
Right.
down days. And obviously I have a lot of support
Yeah.
with my
Which
husband,
is
but it's
awesome.
hard to speak out about it though. Like, cause I mean, like I said, I had never felt it before. So I was like, oh my God, am I depressed? Like, and at first I was almost like ashamed, but I said to my husband, I'm like, I don't feel like me. Like something just, it doesn't feel right, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and he kind of like had to get used to me, voicing it, right? Like it's like, nope, today it's just not a good day for me.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, I just don't feel like me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard. It's hard when you don't have, especially for you, that you
Mhm.
are always like trying to fix things, have control of everything. Like that is something you cannot control. Like it's just like you said, some days were hard. Some days you just nope,
Yeah.
weren't happy.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
I'm hoping I'm coming out to that other side though that you were talking about.
yeah.
Cuz we have had a hell of a 2 years
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. But I mean like you said, like I think I mean, I've always thought that like everything happens for a reason. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I mean, I know God has a plan.
Mhm.
I just think like it's hard to see obviously sometimes, and you just got to like stay the course and just try to make those changes to change your circumstance wherever you
Exactly.
can. Yeah.
So we were just talking about like sleeping and everything. So one of your other hats is you're a sleep coach.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because not only for adults, but you're a pediatric sleep coach too, which is amazing because like I had resources when I had Lucas
Mm.
6 years ago, and like, there were resources out there, but I was really the only person out of my friend group who was having a baby, so it was hard for me. Like I had no one knows what they're doing with their
Yeah. Yeah. No, not at all.
child. It's just like what is going on. And I mean, luckily, like my husband was able to find like tons of resources online and stuff. But like if I had what you offer now, and I'm sure it was out there, I just,
Yeah.
find it. But just being able to know like I wasn't alone, or like, not sleeping at night, like just knowing that there's other women awake right now. You're not the only one.
Yeah.
And if I just had like that support, it would help me too. I mean, it's obviously just not for the babies, but it's just, I think that's amazing too, because there's so many women out there who are just like, what the heck am I doing right now with my baby?
Yeah.
And sleep is so important for the babies. And so I love that too, like that you're able to help women with newborns and babies and toddlers.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it was a nice extra certification. I mean, my passion is definitely more with coaching women, but most
yeah.
of the women I work with are moms. So like I
Mhm.
kept coming across the problem where their
Yeah,
kids, if their kids aren't sleeping, you're not sleeping.
right.
So if you're not sleeping, you're going to have a really hard time taking care of yourself.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so yeah, it is great. It's super rewarding. And I was the same with Gray. Like, I mean, Gray's 8. So like 8 years ago, there were sleep consultants, but it wasn't like a common thing to use. I would have
yeah.
probably paid like $1 million to
Mhm.
have someone help me. I mean, we did
Yeah,
end up sleep training when she was like 3.5 months old, because I was like a shell of myself. I was
yeah,
a mess, a hot mess. And
yeah.
she honestly, like, it was 2 days. She was sleeping through the night in 2 days. And my whole entire motherhood experience changed,
Yeah,
as soon as she started sleeping. And even her, she was such a happier baby. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're also obviously into fitness a lot too.
Yeah.
You've done marathons, right? Or
I've
just half?
done one marathon. I've done a bunch of half marathons. I did one marathon last year.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you're recovering from an injury, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd say I'm mostly recovered, but yeah, I got injured in October in the Hudson half. That was a stupid mistake. Lesson learned, I guess. Yeah, so right now, it's so weird. I came into 2024 and I'm definitely an athlete. Like, I mean, I love running, I love lifting weights, I love strength training. I love yoga. I really love anything active. I'm down. I grew up playing soccer. But right now I had to because like I said, I am a pusher. Okay. So I was like, you know what? I was planning all these races and, as soon as I'm recovered, I'm going to do these races and this, and this. And I'm like, I need to slow my roll and just find the joy in moving again. Because when I was injured, I really couldn't do anything. And, I don't know if you've ever injured yourself and you can't move. It's like you just want to do everything right, because you can't do that. And I really had to just tell myself, you know what, I just want to run for fun. I just want to, get strong, just to be strong, not for any other purpose than just making my body stronger. Not for a race, not for someone else, just to do it because it makes me feel good. And, I enjoy being strong and it's good for my body. So that's where I'm at right now. So I have no plans to run any races. It's definitely tempting.
A little, yeah. Yeah.
But no, because I just know myself, I'm competitive. So if I sign up for anything, I want to do it to the best of my ability. And right now, I just don't want to push myself. I just want to just enjoy moving again.
Good.
Yeah.
And you still feel accomplished doing it at the same time.
Yeah, I've been really liking it actually. Yeah, just
Good.
kind of doing what feels good, not having a training plan. I went running this morning and I used to do my more speed training on Wednesdays and I'm like, I'm just going to do a pace that I feel good today. And
Good.
yeah, it's been
Good.
really nice.
So do you still, so like you did a post and I think you mentioned it on your podcast about your schedule. So you wake up at
Oh
what,
yeah.
4:30? Like I love that. So I fall off the track all the time, but I like ever since you posted that, I was like, you know what, that sounds really good. And actually I've been waking up at like 4:30 and I just like I feel so much better.
Yeah.
Like it's awesome. So are you still like doing that every morning and
Yeah, I mean, my biological clock is just kind of set to wake up
yeah,
then. I mean, if I end up getting into bed later, because like Gray plays a lot of sports now and stuff, so sometimes we get home later. So if I do end up getting to bed later and I can sleep a tiny bit longer, I will do that. I'm trying not to be so type A and just like
yeah.
allow myself to rest. But yeah, no, normally I wake up at 4:30. Yeah. And I'll have, I'll do my meditation.
Yeah.
If I can, I get some work done, and then I'll go exercise before the day starts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's so important to be regimented like that, especially as an entrepreneur. And I mean, I can tell you, there have been so many times I just fall off the track. And it's like, there's such a difference when like I'm not on track and when I'm super organized, like everything obviously just falls into place better. What would you tell? So like you probably work with a lot of entrepreneurs too, right? Like when you
Yeah.
do your coaching and
Yep.
stuff like that, like do you find that your clients or like people that you talk to who own businesses, like do they complain about falling off track a lot? Like how do you get back on track? Like what do you
Yeah.
tell them?
Well, I mean, a lot of my coaching is like organizing your life,
Yeah.
basically. I
Yeah.
mean, routine, like human beings thrive off of structure and routine. It's been proven
Yeah.
scientifically, it's just like even before we had watches and all this stuff, we went to bed and rose with the sun. You still had that organization of your day,
Yeah.
with the sun. It's when we don't have that structure, we feel chaotic. So, I mean, I think that's like the point of it. So, if you don't have a routine and you're not taking care of yourself, or even with your business, if you don't have a routine and structure, you're going to feel more stress than you probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything just feels like all over the
Oh
place.
my God. And I think we all fall off the wagon, not necessarily like with health, but even just like organizing, your
Yeah.
business daily and stuff like that, especially as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
it's an evolution. You always have to. I mean, we talk about this all the time. And what season of life are we in right now, right? Where you might have to make some adjustments, especially as a parent. Things change all the time. So it's really just like kind of growing with that season and kind of accepting where you are and making realistic schedules to what you have going on. Because I think that's a lot of times where you fall off. It's like you make these goals or a schedule, but it's not realistic to where you're at right now. It's like what you want to be, and then you fail and you get upset and you're like, well, this is stupid, I'm just going to fail again, and then why continue on? So it's really just being honest with yourself, like what can I actually handle right now, and like how can I get better at organizing my time.
Yeah. Good. Sometimes I will on my to-do list I'll put like really really simple tasks so I feel good about just like crossing it off. Like it's stupid like easy stuff, but like at least like I feel like I'm getting it accomplished and it's getting done and I can just like see it being crossed off. So
I mean, me, I'm like a tiny habit person. It's much more sustainable, and you do feel so much more accomplished. Like I read 2 pages of my Bible a night. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but I've actually read through like the whole New Testament, and like just by reading 2 pages a night, and you can't like not do that. I'm like, okay, 2 pages is going to take me like a couple minutes to read. So like if you make a habit like that, you really can't skip it. I've done blogs to like go move for 1 minute. Can you move for 1 minute? You probably won't want to stop, right? If once you start moving, but if you just put your goal at something so small as that, you can't be like, I don't have time for 1 minute of walking.
Yeah. It's all about like in our heads, in our minds, like
oh yeah.
Love, like there's like a quote floating around and it's like not exercising is hard, but not exercising and not being healthy is also hard. So choose your hard. Like what are you gonna do? like everything is hard in life. So just choose your hard and you'll make it better.
Yeah.
So,
I think too, like, find what you like to do. Like, I mean, I feel like people think of like exercise as like torture.
yeah.
Find something
Yeah.
you like to do. I mean, exercise can be whatever you want it to be.
Right.
Don't do something you hate. Like, if you don't like to run, stop running. Go walk. Why torture yourself? There's
Yeah.
so many forms of exercise that you can do.
Yeah.
I think you just have to be open to finding like what you like to do. Same with
Yeah.
food. I remember seeing like a friend posted a post and it was like she was like, I'm trying to eat healthy, but these beets are disgusting. How do you guys make them that I can eat them? And I'm like, just don't eat them. Like, just eat
Yeah.
a different vegetable. Like, that's like, what? Why are you forcing yourself to eat something that you don't like?
Yeah.
Like, that's dumb. There's so many different vegetables out there that you can eat that will still give you nutrients and that you can actually like enjoy eating.
Yeah, exactly.
So we complicate things more than they need to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. We were talking about nutrition a little bit beforehand, and it's just like, I'm sure you feel the same way, but it's like the more you look into like our foods and everything and just what's banned in other countries and not banned in the US is just like, it is mind blowing. So, I mean, like, I definitely feel more cautious about what I'm putting into my body, especially because I feel like my hormones have been shifting a lot, like, especially the past 6 months. So it's like, I think also like one of the hats that you wear is like integral into everything else that you do, like coaching women and like, okay, well, that first starts with what you're actually putting into your body and eating your body. And I think just people go out and eat these foods and it's just like, I don't know, it's crazy. It's almost like clown world sometimes, like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, our food industry is just really broken.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like nutrition is such a like a touchy subject. I just think like you have to figure out what works for you. I don't really think there's any wrong or right. Like some people can't eat gluten, some people can't eat dairy. Some people can and they're completely fine and they're healthy. I think it's just like finding what works for you. Like I naturally have high cholesterol because my parents both have it. So like certain health foods that are healthy actually don't do my body good. I have a friend that broccoli causes inflammation in her body. So like again, like you have to find what is good for you.
Yeah.
So like even with a dietitian, like a nutritionist, a coach, whoever, like they can tell you to eat something all day long, but if it's not going to work for you, you have to see how you feel with different foods. And like, I don't really think there's a wrong or a right way to eat. Obviously, eating whole foods is going to be your number one best way to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have to read a label, you're avoiding a lot of toxins and chemicals. But find what you like, find what gives you good energy. I mean, if your broccoli is going to give you inflammation, don't eat it. I mean, I love broccoli. I eat it all the time. But again, that's me and that's not you. So it's like people will be like, oh, what do you eat? Or how many calories do you eat? I'm like, well, that has nothing to do with you. Like it doesn't matter what I eat.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's nutrition is hard.
Yeah.
And I think that's changing too. Like I said, when I had that hand condition and I've had gut issues at certain points where, again, I think it's like your body telling you like, okay, I'm changing. Maybe my hormones are changing or maybe something's changing. And this is a clue. It's not a normal thing. It is not a normal thing to have heartburn. Yeah. At 36, this is your gut telling you, you know what I mean? So these are signs where we just need to pay attention that maybe you need to evolve and change your nutrition. And that's okay too. Just like take a look and see what you're eating and then make some changes.
Yeah, shift some things around for sure.
Yeah.
So now with like going back into hair, are you like loving it? Do you feel like you're kind of like connecting with yourself a lot more now and feel like where you're supposed to be at?
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I definitely like the balance of both. And I do really like being back in the salon and, creating that type of art again. It does feel much more like me. I feel like I'm starting to, re-find myself again. Like, of course, I don't have that core group of girls, but the girls are wonderful, at the new salon that I'm at. I love it's so familiar to me. So like, when you find something familiar again, like even just like running a business, I know how to run a hair business, like learning how to run a coaching business was completely different than running a hair business. So just having that familiarity is great. And yeah, I love getting out of the house too. I think like I really needed that. Like working from home is so convenient, but at the same time, it just it wasn't serving me mentally.
Well, yeah. And if you were depressed, like
Mm-hmm.
you have to change up the scenery. Like you have
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yeah,
a
it's
lot.
fun.
It's kind of like bringing yourself back to your childhood when you weren't socializing because of being
Yeah.
homeschooled.
Yeah.
You probably felt like you were back in that spot almost, like not
Yeah.
really socializing. Although you are, because you're like still connecting with people, but it's different. Like
It's
actually,
totally different. Yeah.
which that's like social media and being able to connect with people over the internet, like it's amazing, obviously, like for
Mm-hmm.
our businesses and everything. But at the same time, there's something about it that like, I don't know. Being in person obviously is, we
Totally.
all we all need that in-person human interaction.
Yeah.
I think it's healthy, important. Um, but I wanted to like say something. Being a hairstylist, like going back to that, like not only do you have to be super creative, you have to know your stuff, you have to be smart about it, but it really, and this is why I think like you being a hairstylist and wearing all the other hats, why everything kind of folds in together is because when you're a hairstylist, it really takes a special someone to be a hairstylist, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
you have to listen to your clients. You have to actually like pay attention, like not only like what their needs are, but that is their time to sit in a chair and just decompress. Like
Mm-hmm.
if they want to talk about shit going on in their life, like if they, whatever, like for whatever reason, getting into that chair, it is just like the world goes away for a second. So being on the other side of the chair, like you really have to be a special person to pay extra attention to really just soak in like your client's emotions. And I say that because I work with, hair and makeup artists
Yeah.
for my clients, and I get to watch, like, it's interesting because I get to watch my hair and makeup artists interact with my clients. And it's just like, it's amazing because, like, you guys are so in tune with like everybody's emotions.
Mm.
And at times that can be so hard because you're just like soaking in everybody's emotions. But the stories that come out, everything, like it's crazy. But like I really feel like you are a safe haven for so many women and so many clients coming in. And I will say, when you were doing my hair for the Women's Expo, it's like absolutely crazy. Like I'm trying to finish stuff up, but like you and I had talked like months ago about like stuff that was going on in my life, and you brought it up and you were just like asking how it was. And like for you to meet as many people as you do and to remember all those details, like you really make women and just your clients feel super special. So like what I'm saying is everything, I know I just like went off on it, but like everything ties into each other. And I think that's why like I said, everything that you do, you succeed at because of your personality and the way that you are. Like, you can't be a hairstylist and not be a genuine person, right? Like,
Yeah.
you have to remember those things about your clients. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's why you have clients that come back to you too, because it's not just that you're talented, it's not just that you know how to do their hair, it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's a place where they can just dump their emotions sometimes, or just a place they can sit and be quiet for a second.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank
I
you.
think
Oh my God, that was really
um,
sweet.
well, I
Yeah,
think
no,
it's
I think you're right. It's definitely 50-50. I mean, I think skill obviously is important, and like I
yeah,
pride myself in my education for
yeah,
hair, but
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I think God gave me that gift, to be honest.
yeah,
Like, I mean, I started when I was 18. I didn't even know myself. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's taken years and years and years. But I have had other, friends, comment just how I listen and talk to people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can really, and I guess maybe this is through my experience too, but just really see people. And I
Yeah.
think that's always my goal, to really like just meet them and see them where they're at and be able to listen and understand what they might be going through and what they need. Because a lot of times like people come in and get their hair done, but I mean, I don't know how many times people just want to come in and just talk, sure, they're getting their hair done too, but it's really more of like an outlet to be able to talk about what they need to talk about and feel better about themselves. So yeah, it is more than just doing hair, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people are like, oh, you're like a psychologist or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have coaching certification, so I do have more than just yeah, it's a connection. I mean, it's building relationships, and I think that's like one thing that clicked with me a long time ago. And I thought like probably like mid through my career, I felt like kind of exhausted, and like felt like a chameleon almost, like I was changing myself to fit what that person needed, but I didn't need to do that. I can still be authentically me and still show up for that person and listen and really not try to fix their situation, but make them feel better in their situation.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on one second.
Is that Callie?
Yeah.
Where is she?
She's in the other room. Hold on.
Okay, no problem. She okay?
Right, yeah, she's good. Just had to readjust some things. I knew that was gonna happen like right at the end.
Oh, it's fine. He can just cut it.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, we were talking about like being a psychologist.
Oh, yeah.
With doing the hair. I'm trying to think. Oh, so I wanted to talk about, so you're going to be doing your rebranding. You kind of talked about that earlier, but what, like, I know you probably don't want to give too many things away, but like what can we expect with that? Is it, obviously it's going to be basically the same?
Yeah, so I mean, it's really just like I found it hard to well, with hair, because I don't own my own salon, so I rent a chair, so I'm independent. So it's my own business, but I don't own the salon. So I found it hard to, like I was kind of playing around with like, should I keep Flourish in there somewhere, that type of stuff, where I felt it just easier just to use my name. So then people could just be like, oh, go see Megan, or, I went and saw Megan Vandevanter, that type of stuff. So, I'm still, Flourish Everyday Coaching is still there. I'm just basically just using my name as my branding. Yeah. So it's not too different. It's really simple. I'm a very like simple person. Yeah. So, yeah.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
And do you find that like now with doing hair, do you find that you're doing that more now, or is everything like the same?
Well, I mean, I still check in with my clients daily, but I'm in the salon more than I like do coaching calls, I guess you can say. Yeah, so I'm in the salon Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then I do some weekend weddings or events. Like this past weekend, I did a quinceañera, but it's not every weekend. I worked weekends forever, so I mean, I definitely try to prioritize, family time and graze like sports and stuff over doing weddings every single weekend. But I am open to doing some of them, especially like referrals.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think I covered everything on my list. Is there like anything else you wanted to talk about? Is there anything else like?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Good.
Did you have anything else you wanted to ask me? No, I mean, I think that's it. I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess if, any other questions come up, we could always do another interview if people want to ask other questions or have a curiosity about my life. But,
is there one thing that you feel like people should know about you that would like really resonate with them? I mean, we touched on like a lot of personal stuff, but is there like one thing like, or just one thing about yourself that you would tell other people that would really like just help them resonate with you?
I mean, I definitely don't have my whole life together. I feel like too, as soon as someone says like, "Oh, you have a podcast," like what? Like they think I'm like famous or something. Like I'm not famous. I do not
No.
make any money off of this. This
Yeah.
is purely just to help encourage people and to like have some resources out there and for women to be able to share their story. And I think talking about things really lets things go. It takes a burden off you and takes away shame and stuff. So, um,
I definitely, when I listen to your podcast, it's just like, whoa, like it's, like I was saying before, being on Instagram and social media and stuff, like, yeah, it's nice to post things and people get to know you, but your podcast and just bringing on all these different women and just hearing about their stories, like it's just amazing. And it really does make me feel like, okay, well, they're going through stuff too. Like it's not no.
exactly. Yeah, I think just like we're all human, and I think if I could say anything, like it's like even if I'm healthy, even if I'm a coach, or a hairstylist, like I don't have perfect hair. I'm not perfectly healthy. I still eat junk. I still take days where I don't want to work out. We're all like that. You're not alone in feeling like, I mean, same with the depression thing. Like I'm not perfect. I still have really dark days, even though I have a great life. I think just keep working on yourself. I'm constantly working on myself. And give yourself grace. Like it's one of the hardest things I feel like I have to do for myself because like I said, I'm a pusher. So like I just have so many expectations of myself because I know what I'm capable of, but that doesn't mean that you can't like
slow down.
Exactly. And just be like, it will happen. It's just, I'm like, I want stuff to happen immediately. So, I'm not a patient person. So, just give yourself grace and, keep working hard and it will happen. But anything to know about me, I try to be pretty transparent on Instagram, if something like, I know I posted about like we were having some severe issues with Gray, some health issues came up with her allergies and it's horrible. Obviously, anybody that has a sick child, you would know. And luckily for us, it was just allergies. But still, it's not easy. It was very expensive. And certain financial things came up where we weren't expecting them. So just a lot of stuff. And, my relationship is not perfect. No one is perfect. So like you said, on social media, I love to post happy stuff. Most of my stuff is like either hair or health, that. But I do try to put my family out there because, and it is happy. We are happy. We love each other. We support each other. They're my number one, but it's not perfect and never will be.
People don't see that enough. And it's like, not that like airing your laundry out for everyone, like that's not bad. Like I know some people look at that and they're like, oh my God, like they're not doing good in their relationship. Like they must be doing bad. But like, that's not the thing. It's like you said, everybody goes through tough times. Every single relationship has its ups and downs and it's about working together. And I feel like the more that people see that, like the more that, not that it becomes normalized, but like, it's okay. Like it is okay to have your tough days with your partner and like, but the thing is like you got to work at it. Like it's not perfect. Like marriage and being with someone is, and having kids, raising kids, it's not linear, right? Like
nothing's linear. No, it's really hard. I feel like Willis and I have had we've been lucky, we had like a pretty great relationship and we do have such a great partnership, but like I said, the past 2 years have been really rough. But I think the most important thing is like we're committed to resolving it and to getting better, as a couple. And I think instead of like airing your dirty laundry type of thing, just be like, I'm committed to growing with my partner and making it better. And I think back to like what you said, like you'll look back on those harder times and realize, how it connected you, right? Like it might not feel like it right now, but whatever you're going through with your partner, whatever I'm going through with my partner, I know it's going to make us stronger, whether it's a better communication, something better in our relationship for the future. But it is hard to see that, when you're in those moments.
Oh my God. when you're in it, like, yeah, exactly what I said before. When you're in it, you just don't realize it.
I know.
And then when you're out, you look back and you're like, oof, like
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
tough. Like with anything,
Right.
you know.
Well, I mean, they say pain is growth though, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
so yeah, it will get better
Yeah, exactly.
for sure.
Well, I'm super glad we did this,
Yeah.
and I'm glad hopefully people will be able to get to, I mean, like you said, you're pretty transparent on Instagram and stuff, but I feel like people really, you know, resonate with you a lot. And I think this is awesome. So
Thank you so much for
I'm
doing
really
this.
happy. I'm happy you asked me to do it.
I
I know
know.
like it's very hard, like being on the side, not doing it before, but I mean, it was good. I liked
Yeah.
it.
Of course it was good. You're great. No, I was like, I don't know who could interview me. Like, I don't know who I'm comfortable with. And I was like, Chelsea.
Oh, good. That means a lot to me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um,
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And yeah, I mean, everybody out there listening, if you have other questions, definitely drop a comment below. And, this is actually the last episode. We're taking a summer break, and then we will start episodes back up in the fall. Again, like, I love this. I really want to like kind of see where I can go with it, but I don't want to get burned out by it. And it is a lot of work. So yeah, we're going to take a little break and we'll be back in the fall.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I can't wait.
Yeah, I know. My creative mind is already going. So we'll see where we go with this.
Good. Well, thank you.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Have a great day.